What is up? What is up? Awesome people of the internet. Hope y'all are doing well. Yes, Rachel, this is alive. This is alive, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining, y'all. Appreciate you. Guys, we are in the midst of the WNBA playoffs for 2024. And I don't know about y'all, but I have been very, very, very entertained. Guys, we have seen some great battles from round one where everybody got swept to the semifinals where we saw the Las Vegas Aces go down in their attempt to three-peat. They went down to they end up losing to the New York Liberty at home in not a surprising fashion. It was exactly the way I had predicted. The fact that they were going to lose in 4, and they did. Now, in this stream in particular, I want to talk about the Connecticut Sun versus the Minnesota Lynx. Now, this is a series that initially, before the series started, I had anticipated it to go to 4 games. After the series started and I saw the first game, I was like, oh, this is going to 5 games. This is going to 5 games, and we are going to witness a fantastic defensive battle over 5 games. And we have seen exactly that, guys. I specifically want to talk about, like, just sort of do a wraparound about the series in general, and then talk specifically about Game 4 and what I thought the Connecticut Sun did to get them into that Game 5 and what the Minnesota Lynx did not do, which cost them the win. All right. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do today. So hope y'all are ready for it. What's up, Frank? Hope you're doing well. What's up, Kentucky Rick? What's up? All right, guys. Let's get into it. So yesterday we saw the Connecticut Sun take down the Minnesota Lynx 92-82. And guys, when I tell you, this looked like a reinvigorated Connecticut Sun team. The Connecticut Sun, after Game 3, looked exhausted. And DeWanna Bonner kind of talked about it in the presser, like after the game. She was like, hey, I'm old. This is older. We got some older players on this team, right? And I was worried. I was a little bit worried about how they were going to do in game 4. But ultimately, they do make a change in the starting lineup, which is exactly what I recommended. I was like, hey, Marina Mabrey does not need to be starting. Either Ty Harris, if she's healthy enough to get back in that starting lineup, she needs to do so. If not, I was like, hey, we need to see Marina Mabrey come off the bench and have a Veronica Burton start, right? Either way, somebody had to start instead of Marina Mabrey, not because she's not good. No, Marina Mabrey is a great player. It was because she does tend to get off to a slower start and does tend to play, at least for the Connecticut Sun, better when she's on the bench, right? She tends to play better when she is right off the bench. And that's what happened. That is exactly what happened in yesterday's game. We saw this team start from the get-go shooting the basketball. And it started from one person. Her name is Ty Harris. Ty Harris was added to the starting lineup. She had the starting lineup for basically, she was basically a starter, the starting point guard for the Connecticut Sun, basically the entire season. But ultimately, she did get an ankle injury and had missed the last couple of games. She did play briefly in game 3 towards the end of the game. And it was a question mark of, okay, how healthy is Ty Harris? And Ty Harris, she strapped up her ankle, got that thing secure and was like, let me go to work. And that's exactly what she did, guys. She went to work in this game, and I was thoroughly impressed. Ty Harris had 4 3-pointers in this game, 4 of 5 from the 3-point land. She was on fire. Like the old school video game, the old school NBA games where your man hits a couple shots in a row and then it pops up on fire. Like that was Ty Harris. That was Ty Harris yesterday. She was absolutely on fire. 20 points in that game. This team does not win without her. It's no way that the Connecticut Sun have a chance without the efficient shooting of Ty Harris. Again, 4 out of 5 from the three-point land. This Connecticut Sun team, a team that does struggle to shoot the three, typically, this team shot 53% from the three-point land yesterday. And the reason why? Because of Ty. Oh, they kind of rhymed. The reason why is because of Ty. Ty Harris was in her bag. She was doing her big one. And she was rocking out yesterday from the get-go. And I think it really did just show what an amazing coach the Connecticut Sun have. Stephanie White is a former player, commentator, coach, who really, really understands the game and really knows how to make adjustments. And guys, it's hard to coach against a seasoned vet like Sharif, right? It is very hard to figure out a way to make a scheme that allows your team, who is not the better team, to come out on top against Sharif. It is very, very, very difficult to do that. But Stephanie White was like, okay, adjustment. Marina Mabrey, love you, but get on the bench. Ty Harris, it is your time. Get your ankles right, because we are about to roll. And guys, it is not over. I know we had 2 not so good games in game 2 and game 3, but we are about to come back. We are the Connecticut Sun. We have the experience to do this, and let's make it happen. And that is exactly what this team did. We saw some different schemes for the Connecticut Sun offensively. The reason why is because Ty Harris allows this team to spread out a little bit more. On when they're on offense, they're able to spread out a little bit more when Ty Harris is in the game, because she can distribute. She also can just sort of go anywhere on the court. She can get a 3-point shot. She can do a mid-range if she needs to. She can get to the basket. She can kind of do a little bit of everything. And she's not necessarily, yes, she's a 3-point shooter, but she's not like a 3-point only type of specialist. She can kind of do a little bit of everything, and it allows the game to open up when you have 2 good passers on the floor at one time. And also, Ty Harris can play some defense as well. And I thought the way that she played in that first half, I was like, okay, Ty Harris, you on your big one today. Like, you on your big one. In the first half alone, she had 7 points, which not the best thing in the world, but it was a really, really good start for a player who hadn't seen minutes in a while. It was a really good start for her. She hit one big 3-pointer, and it was like, okay, well, how is she going to continue to go for the rest of the game? And then as the game continued to go on, she build and build and build and build and got better and better and better and better, draining those 3-point shots when it mattered the most, and ultimately leading her team to get the dub. But guys, it wasn't just Ty Harris for the Connecticut Sun. Like, that's the player who had the most points. That was a player who's probably the most flashiest, right? But it wasn't just Ty Harris, guys. I want to talk about Dejanay Carrington in this game, guys. Dejanay Carrington is a player who, yes, defensively, rock star, right? All defensive team, well-deserved honor for Dejanay Carrington, but she's way more than just a defensive player. In the first half, I thought that Dejanay Carrington, along with Marina Mabrey, really did kind of carry this team offensively, right? Yes, Ty had 7, but Dejanay was showing up big time. She was 4 of 6 in the first half with 11 points at halftime, right? Marina Mabrey getting her shots off. She had 7 at half. When we talk about this team, The thing that makes them a bit of a challenge is that they don't really have a true number one. This team doesn't have that. Not really. When you look at the Minnesota Lynx, it's very clear. Their number one is Napheesa Collier. When you look at the Las Vegas Aces, it's very clear. The best player is A'ja Wilson. The number one player is A'ja Wilson. When you look at the New York Liberty, it's not crazy clear, but their best player is Brianna Stewart, even though Sabrina Ionescu has been killing this year. When you look at this Connecticut Sun team, they don't have a real number one. They don't. Yes, the best player is Alyssa Thomas. But when it's like, okay, you need to pick who's likely to score the most points on any given game, it doesn't really exist like that for the Connecticut Sun. Yes, the best player for sure is Alyssa Thomas. Yes. But from a scoring perspective, they don't really have a true number one. They don't. And any given night, any given half, it could be anybody. In that first half, it was Dejanay Carrington sort of making stuff happen. In that second half, it was all about Ty Harris. In the second half, it was all about Ty Harris. It was all about DeWanna Bonner, and it was all about Alyssa Thomas. You just never know with the Connecticut Sun, and I think that it makes it a little bit tough to go against them as a team, because not only are they really good defensively, but also on offense, who knows? It could be Dejanay Carrington who goes off. It could be, Alyssa Thomas who went off in the second half. Alyssa Thomas had a fantastic second half. I picked this photo, guys. Because I just love this photo, guys. I don't actually remember this play. Watching the game live, I don't remember this play, but it's like the defender is like doing an extra, like one of those Taibo classes or something like that, like with the kick in the air. I don't even think I can get my foot that high. But anyway, I picked the photo because I thought it was a pretty funny photo. But anyway, Alyssa Thomas absolutely got on her big one in the second half. 14 points. Alyssa Thomas, she's a player who her shot is ugly. Very, very ugly. It doesn't look good at all. I don't know anybody who will look at Alyssa Thomas's shot and be like, wow, that is a very beautiful shot. It's not. And I'm pretty sure she'd probably say it too. It's not a pretty shot. However, the way she masters that shot, oh my goodness, it's dangerous. Her ability to get mid-range shots off and get them to go, her ability to get to the basket, it's like in the second half, it was like she was like, okay, we are down. My team is about to lose. I just got cooked in the first half because of Napheesa Collier. I could not stop Napheesa Collier. She just was doing whatever she wanted to do. I was playing good defense, but Napheesa Collier was doing what she does. And now I need to step up my game, and I need to take this team on, and I need to lead this team to victory. And that's what Alyssa Thomas did in the second half. That is exactly what she did. She put her cape on, put the team on her back, and with DeWanna Bonner and Ty Harris, ended up getting the dub. I thought she was fantastic, like absolutely fantastic in this game. And when you watch Alyssa Thomas play, it's like when she's in her bag, you can't really stop her. You can't. Like you can't. You want to stop the little shot put shot? Okay, she gonna pass. She almost had a triple double again in today's game. Like yesterday's game. She's a player who can consistently get close to a triple double just about every time. 18 points for Alyssa Thomas, 11 assists. 8 rebounds, only 3 turnovers. I thought she really did take over in this game. I loved it. I was like, wow, okay, AT, you doing your thing, girl. And it wasn't just her, guys. It was DeWanna Bonner who was doing her thing as well. DeWanna Bonner, she in that second half as well. First of all, the thing to note, I'm going to talk more about it later, but a thing to note is that Alyssa Thomas was largely on Napheesa Collier in that first half. The second half comes around and we see DeWanna Bonner on Napheesa Collier. DeWanna Bonner, longer arms, can do a better job of trying to stop Napheesa. She did foul Napheesa, and Napheesa got fouled a lot in the second half, and so she got a lot of free throws. But in terms of field goals, she wasn't as well. She didn't have as many. She had 5 field goals in the first quarter or first half, 4 in the second half. But I did think that DeWanna Bonner did a better job defensively, though they kept fouling Napheesa. In the second half, though, offensively, DeWanna Bonner was like, okay, I'm, as she said before, she's like, I'm old. We know we need to do. We need to get out here and get this win. That's exactly what we need to do, and that's exactly what she did, guys. I enjoyed watching the adjustments that not only that the Connecticut Sun had in at the start of the game, right? Not only what they did to start the game with having Ty Harris in the starting lineup, not only that, but their adjustment at halftime. Because guys, this team was down. This team was down at half. They were. The Connecticut Sun was losing by 7 points at halftime. 50 Minnesota, 43 Connecticut. They were down. And instead of moping and saying, woe is me, and saying, you know what, I think we lost this. Nope. They went in that locker room and was like, okay, we know what we need to do. Let's regroup. Let's get it together. And that's exactly what they did. Let's get to y'all comments. Thank you so much, Dion, for the super chat. Here we go. Dion says, Liberty and Sun are super teams, but Lynx not so much. Wouldn't you agree, Quita? I would agree. But no, the Sun? No, the Sun is not a super team. No, the Sun is not a super team. The Liberty, sure. You can call them super team. Yep. The Sun, no way. The Sun is not a super team. No. The Sun is a defensive abnormality. Like, they're a team that, like, most people would not think is that good. But defensively, no one can stop them. So yeah, the Sun is not a super team. The Liberty, yes, the Liberty are, but not the Sun, in my opinion. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say, but I don't think the Sun is a super team. Now, I do think that that in a similar way, the Lynx aren't either. Like, no super teams had. The Lynx are not a super team, mainly because they primarily only had one player. And coming into this season, no one really thought the Lynx could do much. No one really thought they could do much. This is a team that did not make the playoffs last year. First time ever for Cheryl Reeve with the Minnesota Lynx that she did not make the playoffs. This is a team that, like, they brought in 2 players that from the Sky that were going to be in their starting lineup, and Courtney Williams and Atlanta Smith. And yes, are these 2 good players? Yes, sure, but no one thought necessarily that they would be starters on a semifinal playoff team, right? No one thought that. No one thought that, but yet and still, defense with some sharp shooting, they were able to get to where they are. They were able to get to where they are. Let's get to some more y'all comments. What up, Jay? What's up, Jay? Jay says Brianna Jones is not a good matchup against the Lynx. Too slow. Facts. Yeah. At times she's very, very slow. And it's not. That's why you saw that she had to get out the game. At times she was taking out the game. Bobby says, Quita, embrace the change, get ahead of the curve, be a pioneer rather than a curator of museum exhibits. Be the prophetic voice which the game needs. What? I'm actually kind of confused. What museum? I'm confused. What museum exhibits are you talking about? Is this like a conversation in the chat or something that's happening? I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know. Maybe after the stream is over, I'll go back and see what's going on. I don't know what you mean, Bobby. Anyway, let's see. Dion says Alyssa Thomas was part of Team USA and Bonner was in the All-Star game. You and Quita are wrong. Sun is a super team and Carrington was Defensive Player of the Year. Technically, Dejanay was not the Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, it was Napheesa Collier. I still don't think that this team is a super team. Just because you have a player on the All-Star team, and just because you have a player play for Team USA, and just because you have another player who's really good defensively does not make you a super team. A super team is a team where before the season starts, you look at it on paper and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I am putting exclamation points around this team. Oh my goodness, this team is going to be fire," right? It's a team that has the not only just the star power, but the firepower of the league, and that was the Las Vegas Aces for several years, right? And then you have the New York Liberty bring together Jonquel Jones, former MVP at the time, Brianna Stewart, former MVP at the time. Sabrina Ionescu, one of the biggest up-and-coming stars in the league. Courtney Vandersloot, a player who came close to winning MVP a couple of times. One of the best point guards in the league at the time, right? You get that group together, that's a super team, guys. Because of the connection of all of the because of all the connection of all the top accolades and just how good these players were on individual teams until she moved over, until they all moved over to join the same team, right? So that's sort of my thoughts there. And in a similar way, the Seattle Storm kind of looked like a super team at first, like they were sort of in that realm, kind of. We saw Ezzie Magmagor, an up-and-coming star, and Jewel Lloyd, a really good player who has led the league in points per game. They pair up with Skylar Diggins-Smith, a like multi all-star player, a player who was absolutely rocking and rolling before things went where they went with Phoenix. And then you had Nneka Ogwumike, another really, really high quality, high octane player. They come together, thought that, okay, maybe this is something, didn't actually work out. But still, so the Sun, in my opinion, are not a super team. They're not. But it's okay to disagree. Dion says, my bad, she was most improved. Yeah, she's most improved. Yep, she's most improved. Bobby says it's the last sentence in a thread, Quita. Okay. Okay, I'll go back and look at your thread. Bobby says Quita's the voice of reason and just what the WNBA needs as it goes through the chaos which always accompanies change. I mean, change is painful. When people are in the midst of change, it doesn't feel good. People don't like change. It's understandable. It's very understandable. Yes, Rena, I am going live tomorrow. Yes, I am. I'll be live for the game tomorrow. Yep. Frank says like, comment, subscribe. Yes, y'all better listen to Frank. Do what Frank tells y'all to do. Thank you so much, Frank, for the support. Frank is the mod extraordinaire and also a member of the Patreon crew. So shout out to all the folks on Patreon who are actively supporting this channel. Really do appreciate it. Really, really do. And thank you so much to the folks on YouTube who have just joined the YouTube membership. I really do appreciate that as well. Shout out to KB, is a member of the YouTube membership. Says Asia had better metrics across the board defensively. Only other player who compared was Dejanay. Yeah, I think it was a couple reasons why Napheesa got it. One is because she does stuff that does not show up on stats. It's hard to sort of it's hard to sort of show how players alter shots in a stat sheet. It just doesn't show up. So yes, from a metrics perspective, yes, A'ja Wilson had more blocks, had more, like if you go down the list of all the defensive metrics, yes, A'ja Wilson had a lot of that stuff. And Napheesa Collier did not. But one, I think it could have went in either way. To be honest with you, I think it could have went either way. If I was going to, if I had a vote, my vote would have went to A'ja Wilson, just because I think she, in my opinion, did sort of separate herself on the defensive end. However, I could absolutely see why people voted for Napheesa Collier, because again, just watching her play, you see what she does on the defensive end, and it doesn't show up in stats. And so it's one of those things where it's sort of like you gotta like actually watch all the games to really see the impact she makes, because it won't always show up on the stat sheet. And it's a similar way in the NBA sometimes where the defensive player of the year is not the player who leads and blocks and steals and all that stuff, right? We see that sometimes happen in the NBA as well, because it's just it's about watching. You got to watch the games and like check them all out, because yeah, if you're going by stats, yeah, A'ja Wilson won hands down. Hands down, she won. But the game of basketball is way more than just the box score, right? And so while my vote would have been for A'ja Wilson, I absolutely understand people who voted for Napheesa Collier, because I could see that too. It's just, if I had a vote, it wouldn't have been for Napheesa for Defensive Player of the Year this year. But she's a fantastic defender. Fantastic defender. It's crazy how A'ja Wilson and Napheesa Collier in my book are 1 and 2 on both offense and defense. 1 and 2. All right, let's keep going. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much, J Spot, for the super chat. What's up, J Spot? Says, hey, Quita, popping in to say hi. Get those likes up, y'all. Yeah, y'all. Hit that like button. Also, guys, make sure y'all are supporting people who make content about women's basketball. Lots of people making content about women's basketball. I don't know, in the chat earlier, we saw Jay in the chat. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe. Jay, J Spot or J Boog. We got J Jordan TV. Does a lot of Liberty and regular content about the WNBA. Y'all, you're not gonna always agree with people on YouTube that's making content about women's basketball, and neither do I. But at the same time, we want to grow this infrastructure. We want to grow women's basketball. And the way to do that is to start with getting, engaging with culture. And YouTube is where culture's at. YouTube is where culture's at. So if we can get more people watching videos around women's basketball, I think it's a huge dub. I think it's a huge dub for the game because it does grow. Not everybody's going to watch the game on TV, but some people will. Instead of watching the game, they will listen to people talk about the game and sort of understand it from that front. And so I really do think that, hey, support people who make content about YouTube or about the WNBA on YouTube. Again, you may not always agree, and that's okay. No one's going to agree 100% with what people say. But please, support it, because as this infrastructure grows, women's basketball grows as a whole. So, do your part, and it's free to subscribe. It's free to subscribe to Jay Jordan. It's free to subscribe to J Spot. It's free to subscribe to this channel. So, whichever one you want to do, please make sure to do it. If you can do all three, that'd be great. But if not, make sure to support J Jordan TV and support J Spot and any other YouTubers who are making good stuff or making content about women's basketball. It's very important. Very, very important. Okay. All right. Let's continue on, guys. I got on a little bit of a tangent there. My apologies. All right. Let's continue on. And I want to talk about Marina Mabrey in this one. I want to talk about Marina Mabrey in this game. The reason why I want to talk about her is because I thought that she was a player who, again, had a different role in yesterday's game. Right? She was starting for the last several games. She ended up coming off the bench yesterday, and she ultimately finished the game with 10 points. 10 points, 3 rebounds. Not the most stellar game for Marina Mabrey, but I also thought it was a fine game for Marina Mabrey. I didn't think this was that big of a deal. This is why you make the decision to start a player like a Ty Harris, and then you allow and you just sort of see what Marina Mabrey has. Marina Mabrey, she played 34 minutes. She played 34 minutes in yesterday's game, again with 10 points. Again, I hope for game 5 we will see her come off the bench again, because with Marina, sometimes she's off, sometimes she's on, but I really do think that she's going to have a better game for game 5. Like I don't think she struggles as much as she did yesterday. Ultimately, she shot 40% from the field, 33% from the 3-point line. She is a player that the reason why Marina Mabrey played so much in the game yesterday is because, we saw Brianna Jones kind of be a liability of sorts on the floor for this team. Brianna Jones, only played 14 minutes. Only played 14 minutes in the game. And the reason why is because as somebody said it earlier in the chat, Brianna Jones really kind of was a liability on the court. She was a little bit too slow for what the Minnesota Lynx was doing, especially in that first half. And we saw the change be made, right? We saw Brianna Jones go to the bench, and we saw a lot more minutes for, Marina Mabrey to sort of slot in and the Connecticut Sun play a little bit of small ball. There was a lot of times yesterday where we had Ty Harris and Marina Mabrey on the court at the same time. And while Marina didn't have that great of an offensive game, it was, in my opinion, critical for her to be on the court especially in that second half, because it allowed Minnesota to not just focus on Ty Harris and DeWanna Bonner as outside shooters, right? So they had to also focus on Marina Mabrey as well, which opened up more opportunities for Ty and DeWanna. So even though Marina doesn't score a lot, even though she's not crazy efficient from the 3-point line, she also did help her team. She also did. She also helped her team. And so I think that's a huge dub. I think that's a huge dub. Oh, we got all the YouTubers in the chat right now. We got all the YouTubers in the chat. What's up, back to sports, y'all? Back to Sports be making some awesome basketball content, as women's basketball content as well. So make sure y'all go over to Back to Sports and subscribe to his channel. Make sure to do that. But what are you saying, Back to Sports? You're saying Mabrey killed your sky. Oh, that trade. You had Phee and Wade, didn't realize the gold he had. Well, you know, James Wade is the gift that keeps on giving. Is the gift that keeps on giving, guys. It is what it is. I mean, Marina Mabrey wants to leave. So, you know, if a player wants to leave and you can get something for them, take it. The thing that I love about the trade is that we got the Connecticut Sun's first round pick for next year. And yes, it's a high pick because they were good this year. However, I still think that it's going to lead to something good, right? It's going to lead to something good, whether we use that, whether we leverage that in a future trade or something. It's going to lead to something good. So actually, I'm not that upset about the trade. I'm not. Because we did get that first round pick. We did get Rachel Banham, who I really like. Rachel Banham. She, you know, we also got Mariah Jefferson as well. I was blanking on her name for a hot second. We also had Mariah Jefferson as well. Both, you know, they're on contracts for next year. And they're cheaper than Marina Mabrey. I think that I think that the idea of getting Rachel Banham is huge, actually. Rachel Banham is, in my opinion, a way better player than what people think she is. Is Rachel Banham a starter? No, she's not. No, she's not. She's not a starter. However, I do think that she could be a really good six-man for the Chicago Sky. I really do. I do think that she can be a good six-man. So I'm cool with the trade. I am. I know a lot of people aren't, but I am cool. I'm cool with the trade. Because again, we got that first round pick, which could lead to something really good. And I think Rachel Banham is a good player. She's also her contract is not very expensive. So yeah. And also, you know, everybody seems to love Big Lotto, aka Big Mama, aka Rachel Banham on this guy. So I think it's working out. I think it's gonna work out. Even though this guy didn't make the playoffs. All right, let's continue on. But again, Marina Mabrey did not have the best shooting night. However, she did have a really good She was really, really good for the Connecticut Sun to allow Minnesota to sort of worry a lot about her, and then you had Dawana and Ty Harris go off. So from a focus perspective, it was actually good that she was on the court because it allowed more threats for Minnesota to try to compete against, and of course somebody's going to be sort of left open and get a good shot. So that's my opinion on that front. But shout out to Back to Sports. Rock out. We got all the YouTubers in the chat today. It's kind of cool. Anyway, let's continue on. Let's continue on because guys, I got to talk about Napheesa Collier, guys. Napheesa Collier. What can I say about Napheesa Collier? Well, what I can say is Napheesa Collier is a straight up cheat code. She is a straight up cheat code. You guys hear me? She is the second best player in the WNBA. She is a player that is a specialist in the paint. She can get the basketball, jab step, make a move, either decide to put it on the floor and get to the basket, or or she can decide to get a jump shot. Whatever she decides to do, it's probably going in. It's probably going in. She's a player who can shoot the three, midi. She can get to the free throw line because you probably gonna foul her. She's a player who usually does not get in foul trouble, even though she was in foul trouble yesterday. This lady can do just about anything. Just about anything. She ultimately finished the game with 29 points. I thought she's about to get 35 because the way Napheesa Collier was working in that first half, I was like, oh my goodness, Napheesa about to have over 35 points in this game. Ultimately, she did not. But she was huge in this one. But ultimately, all the efforts that Napheesa Collier had, it went to naught because she didn't have the rest of her team step up. But Napheesa Collier, she was on one. And the reason why I picked this photo, I picked this particular photo of Napheesa and shooting a shot over Alyssa Thomas. The reason why I picked that is because that's what that first half was. It was Napheesa Collier scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring against Alyssa Thomas. There is nothing, absolutely nothing that Alyssa Thomas could do against Napheesa. Nothing. All right? It was all Napheesa just in her bag playing her game, and it was like one of those instances where you know someone's gonna do something. You know what's coming. It's like you're anticipating what's coming, and you still can't stop it. That is hard to do in the WNBA. It's hard to be a player where everybody and their mama know exactly what you're about to do. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what you're about to do. All right? They know when you get the ball on that 3-point line, you're probably going to shoot it. They know when you get the ball in the mid-range, you either going to do that jump shot or you're going to get to the paint. They know what you're going to do. Everybody knows what you're going to do. And you still do it. And you still make it. Like that's another level of skilled basketball player. You've reached another level when you can do that. All right. It's not like instances where it's like, oh, it's a surprise or, oh, your team got you open and stuff like that. No, they be guarding Napheesa Collier. Napheesa Collier don't be getting a lot of easy stuff. She don't. They be guarding her, but it's like, you just can't do anything. Even though Alyssa Thomas is an excellent defender, it was just way better offense for Napheesa Collier. It was just way better. And it was nothing you could do. So instead of Napheesa Collier, going toe-to-toe with Alyssa Thomas, we saw a change, and we saw DeWanna Bonner go against Napheesa Collier. Yes, DeWanna Bonner is also a good defender, not as good of a defender as Alyssa Thomas, but she's longer. She was a lot longer than Alyssa Thomas and was able to, I think, do a better job on defense. I thought she did a better job. DeWanna Bonner did a better job in the second half than Alyssa Thomas did. Not because of the defense in particular. It was because just of the height difference. And I think that was just a huge thing in the game. Yeah. Napheesa Collier is a cheat code. She is one of the best players in the WNBA. She's a player who can just, again, get whatever she wants. Whatever she wants, she can make it happen. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it. And that's tough. That's a tough thing to say. What can you do? It makes it seem like it's bad defense, but it's not. It makes it seem like it's bad defense, but it's not bad defense. They play great defense on her, but she still cooked them. It's like that. In that first half, y'all know that. Is it a meme? Is it called a meme? It's like the sound that's like, let him cook, and then the beat drops. Like that was me in my head when I was watching Napheesa Collier play yesterday. especially in that first half. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Napheesa's doing whatever she wants. Whatever she wants. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Doug says everybody and their mama. Yeah, everybody knows what Napheesa's gonna do, and she still does it. It's a similar thing to A'ja Wilson, where everybody knows A'ja Wilson's gonna get that basketball. She's gonna do that she's gonna do that jab step, and she's probably gonna shoot it. Or she's gonna back you down a little bit, do that turnaround fade away, make it. Or she's gonna hit you for the 3-point shot. You know what she's going to do, and you still can't stop it. I'm just saying. It's a similar thing for Caitlin, right? In college, everybody knew what Caitlin was doing. Everybody knew that this girl is going to do a step back to the left and drain a shot on you. Or she's going to blow by you and get a layup. Everybody knew it. Could you stop it? No, you couldn't. She was able to get whatever she wanted. I'm just saying, in the WNBA, she was able to get that too. Sometimes the teams did shut her down, but like overall, she was able to get those types of shots, right? And it was about whether or not she was on or not, right? It's a similar type of thing when players specialize in something. There is nothing you can really do. Yes, play the best defense you can, and you just gotta hope they miss. You just gotta hope they miss. When Napheesa Collier, play the best defense you can, and it's Napheesa versus Napheesa in the games. She's going to be the deciding factor on if she makes the shot or not you. Again, similar for A'ja Wilson. If A'ja Wilson has a bad night, it's not really about the defense. It's about A'ja Wilson having a bad night. Again, similar thing for Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark's having a bad night, a lot of times it's not because of other people. It's because of her just being off. We saw it in college for her. At the start of the season, I would say that wasn't the case. But as the season progressed, especially in the second half of the season after the Olympic break, yeah, she was able to do whatever she wanted. And if she was off, it was because of her. It wasn't like, oh, it was you. It was the defense. No, it was just her. She was just off. It's a similar thing. And there's only a select group of players that can say that. Like, we can only say that about a select group of players in the WNBA. A select group. A select group. So that's my little ramble about some of the specialists we have in the WNBA that can do a couple things extremely well, and you know what they can do, and you know what they can do, but you can't stop it. You can absolutely not stop it. Okay? So I'm just saying. Mike Boy says Phee is 28. Is she? Is she 28? Let me see. I think Napheesa. Yeah, Napheesa Collier is 28. Napheesa Collier is 28 years old. Yeah. And to think, guys, we could have another 10 years of Napheesa playing basketball. We could have another 10 years, guys, of Napheesa Collier playing elite basketball. That's tough, man. And also A'ja Wilson's also 28 too. So like, I'm just saying, the WNBA, I'm excited about the future. I am just Just saying. I'm very, very much excited about the future of the WNBA, because we got some straight up ballers, and they're gonna be here for a long time, guys. They are going to be here for a very, very, very long time. Darius says, Quita, can you find out AT's shooting percentage? Yesterday her shooting percentage was 40. She shot 47% from the field. 47%. All right. 47%. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, let's continue on. Still talking about yesterday. Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams is a player who kind of struggled yesterday. She suffered in foul trouble the whole game. She suffered in foul trouble the whole game. She got in foul trouble. She also just couldn't really score like that. When we talk about Courtney Williams is a mid-range assassin, right? Courtney Williams, that's what she does. That girl can shoot some mid-range shots. Absolutely, can shoot some mid-range shots. Can make those shots. A mid-ranger is like a layup for her. She can do that all day long, whenever she pleases. Yesterday, I felt like she was kind of off. Like she wasn't in her normal bag. She wasn't doing her normal Courtney Williams type stuff. She wasn't. And it's one of those things. It's one of those things that, like, you know, sometimes you have a bad game where you're not clicking. It's not working for you. You're not getting the normal stuff that you normally get. You also have a little bit of foul trouble, not a ton of foul trouble. And your coach says, you know what? We're gonna change it up, and we're gonna have you come to the bench, and we're gonna bring somebody else in. You know, because sometimes you just don't have it. And yesterday, I thought Courtney Williams just didn't have it, and it happens. It happens, right? Sometimes you go out on the court, you try your best, you just ain't got it, and somebody else does, and I want to talk about that somebody who I thought had it big time yesterday. There was one player for the Minnesota Lynx who took me by surprise. I was very, very excited to see this player play. I was just like, oh my goodness, y'all, you better work, girl. You better work. And I am talking about none other than Courtney Williams' friend and also former teammate, current teammate also. I'm talking about none other than... Sorry, guys. I'm trying to pull up the graphic. I was talking about none other than the other PG that goes by the name of Natisha Hiedeman. Natisha Hiedeman. Wow. Natisha Hiedeman. She was so good yesterday. And I was like, wow. I know that you can play, but I didn't know that you can go off like that in such a big game like this. It was fun to see Natisha Hiedeman do her thing yesterday. It was so fun to see. And to be honest with you guys, Natisha Hiedeman, you know, she could score. She absolutely can, you know, but she's one of those players that you don't really think about. You think, like, sometimes it's like, okay, well, you know, this player is a player who comes off the bench, can bring some good minutes, but other than that, you know, you don't think that much about. You think about the other players on the Minnesota Lynx. But guys, yesterday, Natisha Hiedeman was like, y'all gonna remember the name. Y'all gonna remember this name. And this shot was about the craziest. It was about the craziest shot. It was at the end of I think it was at the end of a quarter. I can't remember what the end of what quarter it was. But it was a heave ho at the buzzer. I think it was at halftime. It was a heave ho at the buzzer. And it was one of those instances where Dejanay Carrington was defending, and Dejanay was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna foul. I'm not gonna foul Natisha. I'm gonna just keep my hands up because it's a long. She was going a long way. She had to go the full distance of the court in just about a couple seconds, right? So we saw Dejanay end up making a shot on for the Connecticut Sun. There was about 4 seconds left to go at the end until halftime. 4 seconds left to go. Natisha Hiedeman gets the ball, and she's booking it. She's booking it, trying to get a good shot. We see Dejanay Carrington right there alongside with her. She gets her hands up for a crazy, crazy long 3-point shot that most people in the arena was not expecting her to make. And then what does she do? She drains it. And I was like, oh my goodness, girl, you better cook. You better cook, Natisha Hiedeman. Y'all, I was like, man, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Personally, I thought it was fun. I thought Natisha Hiedeman played fantastic yesterday. That sort of 3-point heave ho, that was the only 3-pointer of the game for her, right? The 3-pointer that she made. That was the only 3-pointer that she made yesterday. But she continued to get to the basket. Natisha Hiedeman, almost all of her points came from basically in the circle, in the paint. Almost all of her points came in that paint. She had one sort of short mid-range jumper, one crazy long 3-point heave ho, and the rest right in that paint. She was creating contact. She was getting physical, and she was like, you know what? I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I'm taking it in the paint, and we're gonna see what happens. And good stuff happened. Natisha Hiedeman, she was not supposed to be played that many minutes, right? Natisha Hiedeman don't usually play that many minutes, but she was playing so well. She was playing so well that that Minnesota kept her on the court. Cheryl Reeve was like, okay, you cooking. I'm looking at you cook. So okay, go ahead, stay out on the court. Stay out on the court. Even though Courtney Williams is the normal starter for this team, and even though she plays a lot of the minutes at that starting PG role, Natisha Hiedeman, if she's cooking, Cheryl is gonna be like, hey, I'm going with the high hand, and she was. Usually, Natisha averages around 15 minutes a game, usually. And yesterday, Natisha Hiedeman had 20. How many minutes? She had 23 minutes. 23 minutes. She is a player who is just a good bench player, right? Natisha Hiedeman, she's not a starter in the league. At least I don't think she is. But she is a player that can come off the bench, give you good defense, do a good job facilitating, and can get points. What more can you ask for? Is she going to light it up from a scoring perspective? No, she's not. Right? That's not her. That's not what she's going to do. Natisha Hiedeman only averages a little bit under 5 points a game for the season. Right? So she's not going to score a lot. She's also but she's also going to take care of the basketball too. She's going to take care of the basketball. She's going to play defense. She's not going to score a lot, but she can when the time is right. And yesterday the time was right, and she was able to get shots off and make some stuff happen. So I thought she played I thought she played exceptionally well. The reason I want to find this photo is because y'all look at the elevation that Dejanay has on that shot. She's right there. She's right there in Natisha Hiedeman's grill, but Natisha had her eyes to the sky, and we see in the corner right here, we see head coach for the Connecticut Sun, Stephanie White, looking on like, oh my goodness, is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? If she gonna do it, then she drains it. Then she absolutely drains it. And the crowd went wild. Guys, imagine if she would have hit that shot in Minnesota. Imagine, guys, imagine. But anyway, that's kind of a quick snapshot of at least the players for Minnesota that I really wanted to talk about. Napheesa was in her bag, 29 points. Natisha Hiedeman was in her bag too, 16 points for her. Courtney Williams struggled in the game, ultimately finished with 11 points, and nobody else really showed up like that for this Minnesota Lynx team. You know, nobody else really showed up, and that is something that can't happen. So guys, we've talked about this game. We talked about the players and what they did in Game 4. I do want to transition us to talk about what to expect in Game 5. But before we do that, I do want to see if y'all have any comments, anything that y'all want to talk about before we move on and talk specifically about Game 5. Okay, so let's see any commentary, any last minute commentary about Game 4. Let me check the comments and see what y'all got to say. Sorry guys, when I go on rant, sometimes it's very difficult to keep up with the chat. And so sometimes I got to catch up and I miss comments. So if I miss your comment, please post it again. So hopefully I'll see it. All right. Lindy says Bridget Carlton was not her best. She wasn't. Bridget Carlton, Alana Smith, Kayla McBride, none of them played great. None of them. And that's something that this team needs. This team needs them to play great. This team needs them to absolutely play great for them to have a chance. Looks like there's a lot of talk about the fever. Okay. For this section, I'm just going to skip the fever talk. Conley says Natisha Hiedeman's 3 was before halftime over Dejanay. That shot I think should be dedicated to Caitlin Clark fans. Why? Because she shot it over Dejanay? Is that why? Is that why? Marcus says Lynx team is stacked with talent and size. Now, they do have talent, but size? This is a short team. This is a very, very, very short team. I don't know if you know, Marcus, but Napheesa Collier is 6'1". Atlanta Smith and Dorka Juhas are the tallest players on the team. I don't think at all this team has size. They don't have size. They have strength, and they have figured out a way to leverage the limited size that they do have. All right? This is not a tall team at all, but just because they are not tall, they have figured out a way to harness their abilities where they play much bigger. They play much, much, much bigger than their actual size. Much, much bigger. Dorka Juhas and Atlanta Smith are the tallest ones. Atlanta is, I think, 6'4", I believe. I believe Atlanta is 6'4", and Dorka is like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. They're not a tall team, and Dorka doesn't even play that much, right? She does not play that much. Even though I think she should. I think Dorka Juhas has improved greatly year over year, and I do think she deserves more playing time. I do. All right, guys. All right. So, anything else? Solo says Lynx defensive intensity isn't always there. Plus, they don't have a lot of length, which hurts them sometimes. It does hurt them. And defensively, at least yesterday, they weren't good. they weren't good defensively, allowing the Sun to kind of do a little bit of everything. CAC says, hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Thank you so much, CAC. Another mod extraordinaire. Also, is a awesome Patreon member as well. So thank you. Appreciate the support. Really do appreciate it. Now, guys, let's move over. Let's move over to talk about Game 5. Guys, we do have Game 5 that is happening on Tuesday. It's going to be a good one. It's the only Game 5 that we have for the WNBA semis. And so I am very excited to watch this game. We saw, it was a game. It's been a series of runs. It has been a series of defensive stops and great defensive efforts. We saw in Game 1, we saw that the Connecticut Sun really came out guns a-blazing. Really good defense, even better offense. We saw them hit big shots. Game 2 happens. We see the Minnesota Lynx get back to their normal self, right? We see them not being able to stop. We see the Connecticut Sun not being able to stop the Minnesota Lynx. So Minnesota takes Game 2. Game 3 happens. We see Courtney Williams go off in Game 3. We see Napheesa Collier not have the best of games, right? But she absolutely still does kill it once again, and makes a lot of big noise. We see just this team, this Connecticut Sun team, not be able to stop what the Minnesota Lynx were doing at all. When it came to the defensive end, this is a team that Minnesota was just rocking and rolling. They were absolutely just rocking and rolling, and Connecticut didn't matter what you wanted to do. They were able to make some stuff happen. The Connecticut Sun struggle on defense and ultimately lose game 3, with the Minnesota Lynx scoring a lot of points, a whole boatload of points. Then we go into Game 4. It's do or die. The series is 2-1 Minnesota. If Minnesota wins, they're moving on, and Connecticut's going home. So Connecticut was like, okay, we got to dig deep. We're at home. We got to dig deep, and we got to give the best effort we possibly can to force this into a game 5. We see Alyssa Thomas step up offensively. We see DeWanna Bonner step up offensively. We see Ty Harris come back from injury and step up greatly for this team. And ultimately, they were able to push this to a actual Game 5. And that's what we have coming up on Tuesday. Guys, I want to talk about this game, and I want to talk about some keys to victory for both the Minnesota Lynx and for the Connecticut Sun. First, let's start off with the Connecticut Sun, because the Connecticut Sun, to me, are the underdogs in the series. They are the underdogs. They are the team that is not expected to win, but a team that I think can win if they play their cards right. So let's kind of talk about this, and let's talk about what the Connecticut Sun need to do to sort of secure the victory. Number one for the Connecticut Sun is have DeWanna Bonner play Napheesa for 40 minutes. We saw that, yes, Napheesa still did score in that second half of Game 4, but it was a lot of free throw shots that she got because she was fouled, not because she was able to necessarily get a boatload of shots up. We saw way better defense in that second half of Game 4. And the reason why was because DeWanna Bonner was guarding Napheesa Collier. DeWanna Bonner she has long arms, right? She has very, very long arms, and she can contest. And when we see this team, if I'm Connecticut, I'm like, hey, we need to give Napheesa the biggest fits that we possibly can. We need to make sure that she can't do nothing on offense against us. Yes, she's going to get her shots. Yes, she's going to get going. But we need y'all. DeWanna Bonner, you better stick with Napheesa Collier like white on rice. You better stay on that girl and stay out of foul trouble. So, number one, key to success for Game 5 is DeWanna Bonner, stay out of foul trouble and stay on Napheesa Collier. Number one. Because Alyssa Thomas is a good defensive player, but clearly she can't do nothing against Phee. Clearly, Game 4 absolutely showed that. So DeWanna Bonner, stay on Napheesa Collier and stay out of foul trouble. All right. Next up, Brionna Jones. We're gonna need you to make more of an impact on the offensive end, and defensively, we need you to not be a liability. Brionna Jones is a really good player, but clearly the Minnesota Lynx have figured out a way to sort of neutralize her. She did have a big game in the series. She did have a big game where I think she had like over 20 points in the series. But overall, Brionna Jones has been neutralized on both offense and defense. So number 2, Brionna Jones, you have to not be a liability on defense. You got to get back. You gotta hustle like crazy. Give it all you got. Okay, every single minute you're on the court, they need you sprinting down the court, making sure your man doesn't beat you down the court for an easy shot. And on offense, get that rebound and put it back up. There's times where Brionna Jones is down there and she's battling for the rebound and she just can't get it on the offensive end. She can get these offensive rebounds. Get some putbacks up there. Make it easy on yourself. Brionna Jones is an extremely, extremely talented player. But in this series, you largely haven't seen it. And ultimately, in the playoffs in general, you largely haven't seen it. And so they need Brionna Jones to step up and have a big game. That was the second point. Third point. It's actually a dual point, 2 points, or for 2 players for the third point. It is Ty Harris, Marina Mabrey. Y'all need to light it up from the 3-point line and hit those shots. Now, when we talk about this Connecticut Sun team, yes, they're a very defensive-minded team, but Minnesota's going to get their shots. And the only way for Connecticut to really have a chance, you need 3-point shooting. All right? And you need it from Ty Harris, and you need it from Marina Mabrey. If Marina can get closer to that 40% mark from the 3-point line, same thing for Ty Harris. Oh, Connecticut's cooking with gas. They're cooking with gas. What needs to happen was once again have the same starting lineup from Game 4, where you have Marina coming off the bench, Ty Harris starting the game, and we need to see more of Ty Harris coming and bringing the firepower early. That means in the first couple possessions of Game 5, Connecticut, you need to be looking to get Ty Harris a 3-point shot. That's what you need. You need Ty Harris to get a 3-point shot early in this game. Within the first 2 minutes of the game, Ty Harris needs to be shooting a 3-point shot. Because you need to get that going early. And then when you bring in Marina Mabrey, run some stuff for her. I would say don't put her in as early as you did. So in game 4, we saw Marina come in the game, I think it was like within the first 5 minutes of the game, Marina Mabrey was coming in the game. I think Steph White hold Marina on the bench until about 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Then bring her in. Then start running some plays for her. And again, the goal is to get these players 3-point shots early. I know you want to pass it inside and have Alyssa Thomas bang in the post. I know you want to get it inside to DeWanna Bonner and whatnot, but you need your 3-point assassins. You need them to get going early, because what you don't want, you do not want this to be you don't want this to wind up being a shootout where the Lynx, you have Kayla McBride and Alana Smith and Napheesa Collier and all the others, Bridget Carlton. You don't want all of those players to start knocking it down from the 3. And then in the second half, you're like, oh crap, Marina, Ty, hit some 3-pointers. No, you got to get them going early in the game. So that way, if it does end up being a shootout, they're revving to go and they're in rhythm and they're going to make those 3-point shots. So that's my thing. Get Ty Harris going in the first 2 minutes. Get her good looks from the 3-point line. And when Marina Mabrey comes in the game later in that first quarter, get her lined up for some easy, good 3-point shots early. So that way later in the game, when you really do need them to shoot those threes, they would be in rhythm and they'll be all ready to go. So that's number 3, 3-point shooting. Number 4, Alyssa Thomas, keep your head. Alyssa Thomas needs to keep her head in this game for Game 5. There are times where Alyssa Thomas, definitely the best thing out there for the Connecticut Sun, right? She can play defense, she can play offense, she can do it in anything. But there are times where Alyssa Thomas, primarily due to the refs, gets mad, is furious, is in her head, is upset. And what does that cause? Turnovers. Alyssa Thomas has to stay within herself and has to play her game. She does not. If I'm Steph White, I'm saying, hey, Alyssa, forget these refs. Forget the Minnesota Lynx. Play your game. Don't let nobody get under your skin. Do not let anybody get under your skin. And take care of that basketball. And don't speed up. Don't speed up the game. There's also times where she's where they have this, like, not sense of urgency, because it's important to have a sense of urgency, but sometimes they have a sense of franticness where they're frantic and they're like, oh my goodness. And then they make dumb passes. The head of the snake is Alyssa Thomas. She makes everything happen. She makes everything go for this team. And they need Alyssa Thomas to keep her head and to play just about exactly the way she did in Game 4. They needed her to get those shot puts to go down. They need her to zip those passes like she normally does. That's what they need. All right, and then 5th, I'm going to say bench, be ready. That's my thing. Bench, be ready. Veronica Burton is going to get some minutes in Tuesday's game. And the minutes that she does play, girl, you better sit down, play some defense. That's what she does. Veronica Burton is a good defender, so that's not that much of an issue. But she has to be ready and willing to shoot as well. Not just defend, but be ready to shoot. Olivia Nelson-Ododa, you barely played in in Game 4. I think you will play. I absolutely think that you will play in Game 5. Because I think that Stephanie White is going to give you minutes in replacing Bree Jones at certain points in the game. When you get in, Olivia, you better play. you better play. Okay? Your team needs you to be very physical. Very physical down low, because when you get in the game, you're probably going against Maisha Hines-Allen. And Maisha, that's a big body. All right? That's a big body. And when you come in the game, you better be ready. That's my thing. So I do think Veronica Burton's going to play significant minutes. I do think that Olivia Nelson-Ododa is going to play some decent minutes. And so both of those players got to be ready from the jump. Got to be ready. So those are my keys. kind of keys to the game for the Connecticut Sun. So if I'm rooting for the Connecticut Sun, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to this team. And I have more keys for them than I have for Minnesota, because Minnesota to me is the better team. So Connecticut needs to do more to get the dub than Minnesota has to do. Now let's go over to Minnesota. Well, thanks for rocking with me. Have a good night. Let's move over to Minnesota. So Minnesota, they are the favorites in my opinion. They should win in Game 5. I have Minnesota winning. I do think the better team ultimately in a Game 5 scenario will win ultimately. But let's talk about keys to the game for Minnesota. Number one keys to the game is let Napheesa Collier cook and don't deviate from it. So Napheesa Collier went off in the first half. Second half, she got shots up, she scored and whatnot. But I felt like Minnesota turned off the gas for Napheesa Collier in that second half, and they didn't go to her as much as I think they should have. Especially in that third quarter. I don't think they went to her as much as they should have. And so if I'm Cheryl Reeve, I'm saying, hey, Napheesa Collier is the player that got us to this dance, and she's going to help us win this dance. So Napheesa Collier needs to be touching the ball at least 1 out of every 2 possessions. 1 out of every 2 possessions, Napheesa Collier needs to have the ball in her hands. All right? Whether that's her getting the ball and passing it up for a good shot for somebody else, or that's her taking it herself. Either way, every other possession, Napheesa Collier, if she is on the court, she needs to be touching the basketball. And you need to just work it. Get to the bucket, Napheesa. Get to the bucket. Make them foul you, because they will. They can't stop you. Napheesa can have 35 or 40 points tomorrow in Tuesday's game. She absolutely can. If you continue to feed the beast. All right, so that's my number one thing. Number one, ride with the person that got you here. Ride with the person that got you here, and that is Napheesa Collier. So give Napheesa Collier the basketball and have her work. Because even if other players, and we're going to get to the other players for some of the other points. We're going to get to the other players. But even if they have bad games, right? Even if we see, Kayla McBride have an off game. Even if we see Atlanta Smith have an off game. Even if we see Bridget Carlton or Courtney Williams have a bad game. If they keep feeding Napheesa and not shooting all these 3-pointers and missing, or not getting great shots up, even if they have bad games, if they go to Napheesa Collier consistently, 50% of your offense is going to Napheesa Collier, you're winning either way. You're winning anyway. Like, Napheesa Collier can absolutely carry this team. Absolutely. If she's in that 35 to 40 point range, which if they go to her, every other possession will happen. So that's my thing. So number one, Napheesa. And I'm not saying she should shoot the ball 50% of the possessions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying give it to her and have her decide. Give it to your best player and have that player decide what happens. It's a similar thing that what I think the Las Vegas Aces should have did. They in that second half in Game 4, especially in that third quarter, they didn't go to Asia Wilson as much as they should have. And that's what cost them the game. The guards wanted to do everything, and they wanted to try to make stuff happen. They couldn't hit shots. And they didn't ride with the player who got them there. And ultimately they lost. So this Minnesota team, no one expected you to get here, but you're here primarily because of one person. And so don't forget that and make stuff happen. So 50% of possessions, ball needs to be touching Napheesa Collier's hands, and she can decide what she wants to do, whether she wants to shoot it, drive to the basket, or pass the ball. All right. So that's kind of my thing. That's kind of my thing. That's kind of my thoughts there. BJ says, "Go Phee, go." Let's see. Solo says Williams got to show up. She does. But even if she doesn't, I do think that if Napheesa has a wonderful game, then it doesn't matter. It'll be fine. FM says you're right. Quita Aces didn't go to the MVP. Yeah, they didn't, and we see what happened. We absolutely see what happened. Brian says, right, Quita Collier has to score 35 to 40 points in Game 5 for Minnesota to win. Yeah, I think that is a key to the game for me. Because even if everybody else is off, you can still win if Napheesa has about 40 points. Because everybody else is still going to score something. They're not, even if they don't have a fantastic game. So number one, go to the player that got you here, Napheesa Collier. 50% of the time. Have her decide what she wants to do. Either shoot, pass, drive the basket, whatever she wants to do. Let her do it. Number two point is you got to get some good looks from the three. Now, when we talk about the Minnesota Lynx, they are a 3-point shooting team, right? 3-point shooters. That's what they do very well. And I would say in Game 4, they didn't have a terrible game from the 3-point line, right? They made 10 threes, shot 38% from the 3-point line. But the problematic thing was some of the key players struggled from the 3-point line. Bridget Carlton is a player who, when you talk about big shots, Bridget Carlton can hit big shots. She can absolutely rock out with 3-point shots. Bridget Carlton was 2 for 11 in game 4. They need more from Bridget Carlton. Not only, they need more. They just need more. They need her to be more efficient from the 3-point line. And either you decide, okay, well, I'm not gonna shoot these 3-pointers. I'm only gonna shoot when I'm like wide open. Other than that, I'm not gonna shoot because one, we getting it down low to Napheesa, and two, I might miss. So if there's a good shot, Bridget Carlton, take that shot. Otherwise, don't force it. That's my thing. Don't force it. If you got the shot, this is for Bridget. This is also for Kayla McBride. If you got the shot, shoot it. If you got it. But if you don't, no need to force. No need to force. Kayla McBride is another player who she averages about 15 points a game. She averages 15 points a game, but in Game 4, she only had 5 points. They need more. Your 3-point shooters have to shoot the 3-ball well. That means setting precise screens. Sometimes players, I've noticed in the WNBA, sometimes on offense, you're setting a screen for the other player, but you're not, it's not like a hard screen that allows the player to actually get open. It's just like a run-of-the-mill, let me screen. You give way too much space where the defender can just go around and still contest. So on your screen actions, actually set screens, like real hard screens. Get your players open And when you do that, when you set hard screens, you see fluid basketball for the Minnesota Lynx. Especially in game 3, I would say, we saw it was I think I called it beautiful basketball that was played by the Minnesota Lynx. The reason why? Screen, roll, off ball, screen and roll action. It was constant. It was constant as the game was happening. And we saw this team, light it up. That happens when you set screens, set real screens, real screens, getting your players open, and giving them good looks at the 3 and giving them good looks at the basket. So that's sort of like a hybrid 2 and 3. Bridget Carlton, Kayla McBride, y'all need to hit y'all 3s, and everybody set real screens, get your players open, and get back to that fluid sort of constant motion basketball, because that's what you do well. If you are playing basketball in a way where you are constantly moving, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very, very, very hard for Connecticut to stand a chance, because when that happens, usually somebody's open somewhere. And you just keep moving the basketball. Oh, somebody's wide open. 3-point shot. Moving the basketball. Oh, let's get it to Napheesa. Oh, they're surrounding Napheesa. Oh, somebody just popped out. Boom. Shot. It's sort of like simple basketball, but it's extremely effective. I do want to give a huge shout out to Mike for joining the channel. Appreciate you, Mike. Mike is an official channel member. Really do appreciate you. Salute to you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really do appreciate that so much. So yeah, that's my 2 and 3. Your 3-point shooters got to shoot that 3, and when it comes down to the offensive sets, set those screens, roll hard, and let's play fluid basketball. Let's play constantly moving basketball. And the Minnesota Lynx are going to find success if they do that. And finally, my final point for the Minnesota Lynx as a key to victory is it's a double one for both the point guards. It's for Courtney Williams and Natisha Hiedeman. And it's continue to play good defense, but also try to get your assist numbers up. For Natisha Hiedeman, 16 points, 3 assists. I thought she played really well in game 4. Courtney Williams didn't have the best scoring game, 11 points. She did have 4 assists, but in order for this team to easily win, you need a little bit more from Courtney Williams from an assist perspective. My metric for Courtney Williams is to sort of hover around that 7 to 9 assists number. I think that's going to be key, because what the Minnesota Lynx need from Courtney Williams is not Courtney Williams the shooter. It's not if Courtney Williams has a open mid-range shot, shoot it. No problem. Shoot it. But what they need from her is to be that facilitator. They need her to be that facilitator, and for her to sort of enable good decisions for her team. This Minnesota Lynx team is a very unselfish team. They're a team that passes the ball well. They're a team that looks for each other and makes stuff happen. And in order for them to win, I think that it starts with your PG. And it starts with Courtney Williams finding the open man, running sets that allows people to get open for a really good shot. You have to pass the ball well. because this team, this Connecticut Sun team, is a team that they want to turn you over. They want to turn you over, and that's what they did in game four. They turned over the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota had 13 turnovers in game four. The Connecticut Sun only had 9 for turnovers. This team has to rely on Courtney Williams to, yes, I know you're not a traditional point guard, but you are a fantastic point guard when you want to be. You absolutely are. And I think that they need her to step up her game from a assist perspective, from a seeing the floor perspective, not from a shooting perspective. Sure, if you have an open shot, shoot it, but don't look to shoot. Look to pass. Look to pass. And for Natisha Hiedeman, a similar thing. Girl, get your shot. If you got a path to the basket, get your shot. Go to the basket and get a shot. But your team needs you to facilitate above everything. Don't look to shoot. Don't look to shoot first. Look to pass first, and your shot will come. Look to pass first, and as you pass more, you will find yourself open and get the shot. So that's kind of my keys to the games to both teams. Ultimately, I do have the Minnesota Lynx winning this game. I do think that this is going to be a game that's going to be determined by 10 points or less. 10 points or less, but I do think that the Minnesota Lynx will ultimately have it. Definitely, I think that Napheesa Collier is going to have a masterful game. I think she's going to put on a clinic. I do think that Marina Mabrey is also going to have a really good game for the Connecticut Sun, but it's just not going to be enough. I think so. That's my thoughts right there. Highest scoring player for Connecticut will be Marina Mabrey, in my opinion. Highest scoring player for the Minnesota Lynx will be Napheesa Collier. Either way, we have a fantastic game that we're going to watch. I'm excited about it. Who do y'all think is going to win this game? I'm very much curious to see who you all have winning. Again, I do have the Minnesota Lynx. Because ultimately, when it comes down to big games like this, I always have the better team winning. Can Connecticut win? Absolutely. If they win, will I be shocked? No, I won't, because they're a really good team. But the best team with the best player in the series, that's what I got. That's who I have. That is who I have. Jay says, as long as the Sun have the lead or stay with single digits down the stretch, they'll have a chance to win. Double-digit deficit, and they're going fishing. Yeah. They got to keep it close. They have to keep it close. That's the thing. They got to keep it close, because that's what they did in game 4. They kept it close, and then and all of a sudden, we got a different ball game. They were losing. Kept it close, and they got it. What's up, Unaided Foot? Another channel member is asking about Marina Mabrey and is wondering, is she on a long-term contract? Well, Marina Mabrey is signed until the end of 2025. So she will be an unrestricted free agent for the 2026 WNBA season. All right. So they have her, the Connecticut Sun have her again for next year. She is one of the rare players for the Connecticut Sun who actually will be on the roster next year. Connecticut has, I have to do a little bit more research on this, but I believe they have the most free agents coming into next year. Alyssa Thomas is an unrestricted free agent. Right? Brianna Jones, unrestricted free agent. DeWanna Bonner, unrestricted free agent. Tiffany Mitchell, unrestricted free agent. Studu Fall, unrestricted free agent. Dejanay Carrington, restricted free agent. And so, there's a lot of free agents for the Connecticut Sun. They're going to look very, very different. Possibly they may look very, very, very different next year, depending on if the free agents re-sign with them. But Olivia Nelson-Ododa, Ty Harris, and Marina Mabrey are 100% locked in for next year. They're locked in for next year. Everybody else, No idea. No idea. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Riz says, Quita, you talking about Courtney? No, Phee needs to go off. I mean, yeah, that was my first point. And my first point was that Napheesa Collier needs to go off and have close to 35 or 40 points. For sure. So yeah. Guys, I think that may be it for me tonight. That may be it for me tonight. CAC says, I think whoever wins will be washed and Liberty will either sweep or do it in 4. Actually, I agree with that. Yeah. I think I agree with that, CAC. Right now, I think I agree with that. Yeah. Because, yeah, this team is, the Liberty is just better. But I will say, Minnesota did beat the Liberty in the Commissioner's Cup. So I'm just saying, Minnesota did beat the Liberty in the Commissioner's Cup, and they did get that money. They get that money. All right. Zola says, I think you're trying to say Dejanay. Dejanay, I want to see her in a Fever uniform next season. That'd be awesome. I'm going to say this. Sometimes in the WNBA, we have these things of like, oh, rivalry players, right? You know, and this year it was definitely like, oh, it was Dejanay Carrington versus the Indiana Fever. It was like a lot of spotlight on Dejanay versus Caitlin. But I tell you, if these two players ever became teammates, they would have a great time. Because we look at the arc. We look at the arc of Dejanay Carrington and Marina Mabrey. These are players who on the court couldn't stand each other. They would jaw against each other in games and whatnot when they were on different teams. They couldn't stand each other. Then Marina gets traded to Dejanay, to the Connecticut Sun, and people were like, "Oh my goodness, Marina and Dejanay on the same team? How are they gonna make it work? What's gonna happen? Are they gonna go after each other in practice and all this other stuff?" And look at this, they're like best friends. Them two are like best friends. They always laughing. You see them sticking up for each other on the court. It's like they are best friends. Because there are some times where you don't like a player, but when that player, you don't like a player because of the antics that they have, on and off the court, or in this case specifically on the court. But if that same player is doing that same exact thing for you, now you love it. If they on the opposite team, nah, I can't stand you. Nah. But if they on your same team, oh, you love it, guys. I think I got to do a video of the arc of Marina Mabrey and Dejanay Carrington. Yeah, it's a fun arc for sure. Fun arc. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me, guys. Tomorrow, we have an awesome basketball game ahead of us. We have the Connecticut Sun versus the Minnesota Lynx, guys. I'm excited about it. I hope y'all are as well. It's about to be cool. That game starts at 7 p.m. Central Time. 7 p.m. Central Time. All right. So I will be live for that game. I'll be doing a watch and talk play-by-play live. That game is happening at 7 p.m. on ESPN2, Game 5. So I hope y'all gonna rock with me for that time. If y'all could, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much to the folks on Patreon who are actively supporting this channel. I really do appreciate it. If you want to join, y'all can go to patreon.com/Quita Loves Sports. Also, if you want to join the channel membership here on YouTube, you can do that by hitting that join button right underneath. I make content all about women's basketball, so if that is what y'all want to do and support, y'all can absolutely do that. I have merch at QLSapparel.com. Once again, that is QLSapparel.com. It's getting kind of chilly out. It's getting to that sweatshirt weather. And I do have a awesome sweatshirt for y'all to rock out with. So y'all can get that at QLSapparel.com. Make sure to hit that like button, y'all. And I will see y'all in the next one. Guys, as always, be kind to people. Be respectful to people. If no one has told you, let me tell you, you matter. You are important. And I'm happy that you are on this earth, guys. Until tomorrow, I love you. But most importantly, Jesus loves you, and he wants a relationship with you. Guys, I keep saying guys because I love saying guys. That's like one of my favorite words in the favorite words. I call everybody guys. Doesn't matter who you are. I say guys a lot. Anyway, I'm rambling. I gotta go to sleep. My alarm is about to go off, so I will talk to y'all in the next one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.